Well, hello friends, neighbors, John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome back out to the garage. This is my third video where I'm answering the challenge from a Dram Divided. Can you stock a bar for 250 euros? Now this one, I can't, because this one is beyond 250 euros. But this is my third video. I did one that was quite a bit below. I did one for 300 Canadian. Then I did another for 400 Canadian. And this one, what I'm doing is the same categories and 8 bottles. So I'm going to Canadian rye, a couple of bourbon, Irish, and 3 Scotch. So 8 bottles. And none of the bottles can be more than $100. So the most I could spend here would be $800, and I'm well shy of that. But I just want to give you the parameters that I gave myself. This is where I don't have a bar, but I'd like to have one that has a little more kick. Stay with me and I'll show you my 8 picks. Boom. Thanks for staying with me, and if you've watched the other 2 videos, this is the third video, and so you've actually been with me for quite a journey. This one is really about trying to keep every purchase to 100 or less, more than trying to meet that 250 euros that a Dram Divided challenged us all with. So the first one is Canadian. I think when you've got almost 100 bucks to play with, you really need to look at some of either the craft releases, some really nice single malts from 2 brewers, or Shelter Point. But for me, I have been so wonderfully excited and blown away the last few years with the Northern Border releases from JP Weiser, and I'm going to pick Pike Creek 21. And the last one, you know, that was ex-sherry was so good. But I actually have appreciated every one of them, which is a little bit surprising because I'm not a fan of Pike Creek 10-year-old ex-rum. It is way too sweet for me, sugarcane sweet. But these other finishing with a little more age, really liking that Pike Creek 21, Dr. Don. So then, okay, now I've got a big budget for rye, and as you know, I love rye. Now, I could easily have rolled over another from that lot, 40 cask strength, maybe the dark oak, but I thought, you know what, actually I've really been enjoying Pikesville rye, really a lot. I know it's a barely legal rye, but there's a lot of good richness and rich flavors. It's not as grassy as many ryes, and I can really get behind grassy ryes, but it's just a beautiful rye and deserves a spot on a bar that you're still trying to be budget conscious, but you're allowing yourself to spend maybe just a little bit more. Now we're heading over to bourbon, and there are a lot of really good bourbons if, you know, price isn't the guiding factor. And for this one, I decided to go with a relatively newcomer, kind of representing all newcomers, but for me, still Austin from Texas is just phenomenal. I got that from Mark Whiskey Whistle. That's the first time I saw it, went out and bought it, and have not regretted that purchase. Have loved every ounce that has come out of that bottle. Really like it. So, okay, we'll put that on the shelf. Then now I've got to have a bigger one, right? Like in the last 2 videos, I started with Rare Breed, then I did Knob Creek Single Barrel, and now I'm going to go with a favorite of mine, and that's Booker's. I really like Booker's. Even the ones that have been rough and torn up by critics, I tend to still like it. So I'm going to put Booker's on my shelf if I'm looking for a big bold. Now, honorable mention would go to something like Old Forester 1920. A good value, I just can't find it anymore, would be that Old Ezra. That was just so good, but I just can't find it. Anyways, for me, I can continually find Booker's and a good price, and it just gives that, you know, cask strength, barrel proof bourbon a chance to live and breathe. Now we'll think Irish. Now this, there were 2 in my mind neck and neck, but one has just radically gone up in price in my area, and so I couldn't put it on the list. That one would have been Rare Breed 12-year cask strength. Love that. That's probably in my top 5 whiskeys of my life. I like it that much. But it's really gone up in price, and so it's off the list. So I'm going to another one that I have shouted praises of and really enjoy, and that is Yellow Spot. I just really enjoy that. That wine finish on there is just done so well. It's so coating and delicious. Ooh, I could just have a dram of that. So now let's go over to Scotland. And here again, I've tried to do a sort of an ex-bourbon and then like an ex-sherry and then something peated. And so, you know, I went back to one that I've recommended maybe too many times, but I'll do it once more, and that's Clynelish 14. Clynelish 14, I know it's waxy, but it's so good and waxy and fruity and fresh. I just love Clynelish 14 and think it should be on your bar. Then sherry. I really appreciate a lot of ex-sherry or heavy or sherried scotches lately. And I was on the edge of dropping Tamdhu 15 cask strength because it's currently my favorite right now. Like, I'm really liking it. But it can punch up in fairly high prices. And, you know, I already have one cask strength on the list, and I haven't really had a cask strength on any of the earlier lists in this category. So I thought, okay, what else do I have that I've often gone back to? And you know what? I surprised myself, took a nip of it and thought, yeah, actually, this is really good for the price. Really good. And that's Glenfarclas 15. You know, it comes up to 46%, and it's got lots of sherry and chocolate to think about it. It's nice to put on the list a family distillery. I can't say small family distillery. They're pretty big. But Glenfarclas 15 would look great on any bar. And I don't mean look good. You'd pour well from it for anyone who wants to feel or taste, hey, what does a full sherry dram go with? And that leaves us with the last one. And the last one is a full peated scotch. You know, all the other lists I've held back on my peat love because I'll tell you, it's not that you mature into liking peat. You could drink scotch for your entire scotch journey and peat will never be a favorite of yours. Wonderful. That's totally great. But I will say, you know, it's good if you have opened up a little bit more money to have somewhere on your shelf a full peat. Now, I didn't go monster. Well, maybe I did. Well, okay. My last pick is the bottle that I'm drinking with you, and that's the affordable and easy to find Ardbeg 10. Now, I'd happily have had Ardbeg, Lafroig 10. I would have happily had anything from Kilchoman. I would have happily had like Talisker, Kalila. They're all playing into that. But for me, because I was still trying to be budget conscious, and my whole list is under 650 Canadian. So I was well shy of giving myself $100. And this one, Ardbeg 10, I just, you know, it's full peat. Like when I said, I don't know what I had said, something about restraining myself. This is not restrained from a sense of peat levels. It's, what is it, 50 to 55 parts per million, something like that. I mean, it is the full deal. But it is still, I think, affordable and in just about every market, and I just really appreciate Ardbeg 10. So that is the end of my 3 videos to try to stock a bar with some kind of limitation on budget. I first did it for under 300 Canadian, then I did for under 400 Canadian, and I could have said under 650, but it really wasn't the goal. Here it was just like, okay, not sky's the limit, but go to the shelf, buy what you want to drink. Thanks for joining me here. Thanks for watching these videos, and share your thoughts below. There's tons of different decisions, and I think if I had shot this next week, you know, half of the bottles would be different. Take care, you guys. Cheers.